Hi Year 11, this is a quick revision video for Section B, Living World in Paper 1, and this is your small scale ecosystem. So remember, we have looked at Farnley Fish Pond as an example of a small scale ecosystem in the UK. This is often, I feel, one that we easily forget about because it doesn't come up that frequently. So hopefully this video is just nice and quick to help you remember what you need to know about Farnley Fish Pond. So a fish pond, including the one that we find down at Farnley, is basically an ecosystem made up of smaller habitats. So obviously there are fish where the water is deep, and the edges obviously where there's going to be more plants where the water's shallower. There'll be lots of insects. There might even be lots of birds like wildfowl, herons, ducks in this area as well. All we need to remember about this example is the different features of an ecosystem that we have in the fish pond. So remember, we classify them firstly into abiotic and biotic. So your abiotic factors of a fish pond would be the water, the sun, the soil, basically the non-living things, and then everything else is biotic because they are the living things. So your decomposers such as bacteria, fungi, worms, snails. Remember, a decomposer is what breaks things down and adds nutrients back to the soil. Your producers such as algae, pond reeds, water lilies produce their own energy through photosynthesis. And then you have your consumers, which have to consume something else to gain energy. So your primary consumers would be things like your water diving beetle, your dragonfly, your nymphs. Secondary consumers would then be your fish, your newts, your ducks, and then your tertiary consumers would then be your herons. Obviously, we would think about this as a food chain, so the order of how they would go in our fish pond, and obviously if there was one change to this pond, so for example if there was a drought and there was less water in this pond, that would then have a knock-on effect down the food chain. In terms of exam questions that you would have, we've only really seen this come up as 2 markers previously in exams. So you can see there, for one small scale ecosystem that you have studied, name one producer and a consumer. So all you would do is name a producer from the fish pond and a consumer from the fish pond to get you 2 marks for that. And then another one for the small scale ecosystem that you've studied, outline the link between producers and consumers. So here the examiner is wanting you to understand that food chain connection in that fish pond. These animals and producers need to work together. So for example, the great water diving beetle has to consume the algae, which is a producer in the ecosystem, to gain energy, so it then obviously can continue living and reproducing.